إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islam wa sunnah. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the Sunnah. This is the first class in a series of classes that are geared towards our sisters, and it is incumbent and it is a must that each and every one of us, we take very serious the seeking of knowledge, and in particular the women, that they put forward a great concern that will translate into a great effort, sacrifice, and great diligence in the attainment and in acquiring knowledge. The attainment of knowledge and the superiority of knowledge, there is no doubt as relates to it. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in His noble book, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ, that Allah raises those who believe from amongst you and those who have been given ilm. They are raised over the general masses of the believers in ranks and in levels. And bila shak wa bila rayb, those who have the most fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they are those who have the most ilm about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in His noble book, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ, that verily the only ones who truly fear Allah from His slaves, and they are the ulama. And this ayah, you see that in the front of it is innama. Just like in yesterday's class, the class of the 40 hadith, the hadith of Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, that verily actions are but by their intentions. We explained and we took in that class that innama is from adawat al-hasr. It is from those expressions that restrict. It is restricting. So it means only. Verily, the only ones who truly fear Allah from His slaves, then they are the ulama. They are the ulama. And bila shak wa bila rayb, this is something that we all should aspire for. Now, the women in particular. Because when it comes to striving for various things, you will find that there are from the Muslims those who say it is important for our women to be educated, right? And no one differs with that. No one disagrees with that. No one will debate anyone about that in any which way, shape, or form. However, it is unfortunate that many times when people say this, their gaze is restricted to interdisciplinary education. So they will say that our women, they need to be educated because we need women who are doctors. We need women who are dentists. We need women who are gynecologists and so on and so forth. We need women who are nurses. We need women who do this, who do that, to the end of it. And bila shak bila raib, again, no one is going to debate this. No one debates this point. Now, we do need women in these professions, especially that deal with women, so that the women can deal with women. Now, and no one argues about that. However, it is very rare, and far in between, that people actually understand the importance of having women who are well versed in aqeedah, having women who are well versed in fiqh, having women who are well versed in the tafsir of the Qur'an, having women who are well versed in hadith and in the sciences of hadith, having women who are well versed in the language and the sciences of the language. Now, women who are well versed in tajweed, so on and so forth, from the sciences of the deen. We need women who are well versed in these affairs for a number of reasons. The obvious and the most apparent reason from amongst them is that the women, they are the first teachers of the children. And the children, they should not have to go outside of the house to learn the very basics. Now, and if in addition to their studies inside of the house, they go outside of the house as a reinforcement, then the women should be able to help the children with their homework. They should be able to help the children with their studies. They shouldn't be unaware of what the children are studying. So it is incumbent that women, they learn because they are the first teachers. And their status and their role in the rectification of the society is tremendous. Their role is tremendous. And if they're taken out of the equation, then the results are destructive. Then the results, they are disastrous. They will lead to ruin. If the woman is corrupted, 9 times out of 10, you'll find the family is corrupted. Now, if the woman is corrupted, then you will find the family is corrupted. 9 times out of 10. How often do you have and you find individuals who you say it is a good brother, right? But his wife, not so much. And you find that the general state of the family is horrible. But the brother's holding on. Now, but when you find the wife is upright, 9 times out of 10, the family is upright. The husband included. Now, it may not be as good as her, but you find he's okay. La bats bihi. Now, and an example of this could be seen in how many stories do we have from the past that a righteous man will marry a woman from the Khawarij, for example, hoping that he will give her da'wah and she will come and become from the people of the Sunnah, and it ends and it turns up that he becomes from the Khawarij, that he becomes Khariji. Now, this happens all the time. Men will marry women who have bad religion, and you find instead of them having an effect on the women will have an effect on the man, and now the man has bad religion. Now, I personally know of a case of a student of knowledge. I won't say his name because it's not important, but the takeaway from the story, it was a brother, he's a student of knowledge. Very, very outstanding in his studies. Fast memory, very good command of the language, so on and so forth. Now, he was excellent until he married a woman. Until he married a bad woman who was one of those women who was obsessed with money and financial things. Led this brother and destroyed him so much so that this student of knowledge became a con man, swindling criminal. robbing the Muslims for their money to satisfy his wife. You see that? Who affected who? Now, so you find that the women being upright, being upon what is good and wholesome and so on and so forth is tremendous, because their effect on the rectification of the society is one that is overlooked many times by us, but not by the enemy. Not by the enemy. Now, and I want you to reflect upon this. And the sisters, I want you to reflect upon this and to understand this good. The enemy knows that if they take you out, then they will destroy our families. They know this. Now, and I want you to bear in mind right now, the media campaign and the target that the Muslim women, they are targets. So when you see the Muslim women and they're inside of these advertisements, be it for whatever, I don't want to give any free advertisement to no company, right? But the sports company, for example, and then you find in their advertisement a woman and she has on what they call a khimar, now. And everywhere you look, you see women, Muslim women on the billboards, Muslim women on the magazine, so on and so forth. And any religious person will know that these type of women and the manner in which that they dress, not anything outside of that, because we're looking at the surface, right? We don't know what's inside her heart, but looking at the surface, and on the surface, this is not the picture of a religious woman. This is not the picture of a religious Muslim woman. But this is what is being advertised out to the people, that this is the standard, this is the role model, look at this. Now, you don't see a lot of Muslim men in their advertisements. You don't see a lot of Muslim men inside the media. You don't see a lot of Muslim men inside the commercials, but it's filled with Muslim women. They target them. Why? Because if they can target them and get them outside the homes, get them involved in the workplaces, get them involved in this and involved in that and that and that and that, it takes them away from their true job and responsibility. And that is what? That is the rearing and the education of a nation. You see that? The rearing and the education of a nation. It takes them out, and then now what is our next generation left with? They left with what? Child care. Child care won't do like your care. You see? They understand this. What destroyed the people of what destroyed Banu Israel? What was the fitna that destroyed them? Was when the women became corrupted. Now, the enemy knows this, and that's why they attack our women. The enemy knows this. That's why they attack our women. Wa'iyadu billah. And every time you turn around, you find some more propaganda. Muslim woman, movie made about her, with her struggles about her deen, her doubts about her deen, her kafir boyfriend, so on and so forth. This becomes of the regular, because this is what they want you to do. This is what they want, this is what they advertise unto you, because they understand the importance of your status and of your role. Ala kulli hal, it is incumbent that we understand the importance of the role, and that we understand that it will require knowledge. So again, the sisters, they should strive and aspire to be of those who are well versed in the religion, so that when there are classes, sisters classes, they can be taught by a woman, by a sister. This is not to say that the brothers will abandon the likes of imitating the Prophet ﷺ, as he will give special time to give instruction to the women. Now, so you still, brothers are going to try to do good and to imitate the Prophet ﷺ, so they were going to continuously try to benefit the women as much as they can, because they understand the great reward in it. That if they help the women and point them to a good, and then that woman points her children to that good, then this is from sadaqah jariyah. Now, this is from that ilm that will benefit after a person's death. So this is a tremendous thing. But in any event, how awesome would it be, and how much better would it be for the sisters now to have classes where sister can teach them nahu, where sister can teach them mustalah hadith, where sister can teach them usul fiqh, qawa'id fiqhiyya, so on and so forth. This is important, and we need this. But it will require a group of women to stand up and to be serious about their Islamic education, to be serious about seeking knowledge. Now, and likewise, as brothers, it is incumbent upon us that when we go home, we share what we learn with the sisters. and that we share the benefits that we have gained with the sisters. And that when we come out to class, like the Friday class, that we just don't come by ourselves, but that we bring the whole of our families, bidnillahi ta'ala, so that they may benefit, and that they too, they may learn, and they may be well grounded. This is of extreme importance. And especially if we are a community who realizes the need for a school, the need for an academy, so on and so forth, then we realize that that school, that academy is going to have pupils that are males and pupils that are females. Now, who's going to teach our females? Who's going to teach them? Those females who come of age and they're in puberty, who's going to teach them? Those females, 7 years and older, who's going to teach them? Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, he advised that no woman should teach a boy over the age of 7. This was his advice. No woman should teach a boy over the age of 7. Now, and then the opposite as well, that after the age of 7, then the instructor should be from the same sex as the pupil. Now, so where are our sisters who's going to teach the children at that age? Where are our sisters that are going to teach the children in middle school? Where are our sisters that are going to teach the children in high school? Where are our sisters that can teach the children on a college level? And I'm not talking about math and science. No, that's fine. We have sisters that can do that. I'm talking about the deen, the affairs of the deen. Where are our sisters that will teach our children metin al-ajurumiyya? Where are the sisters that will teach our children the books of hadith? Where are they? Where are they? It is incumbent that sisters, that you take this seriously, and you grab what you can grab, and you benefit and capitalize on what you can benefit and capitalize off of. Because seeking knowledge is not just for men. Seeking knowledge, it is not just restricted to the males, but rather it is for all of the Muslims. It is for all of the Muslims. If we want to see our community thrive, if we want to see our community reach levels of success, then the women have to take more of an active role in the building of that community. And like with everything else, that starts first and foremost with knowledge. Because knowledge, it precedes statements and action. It precedes statements and action. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu bihi ilma." That whoever takes a road and they take that road seeking out knowledge. Now this is general, be it male, be it female, young, old, in general. Whoever takes a road, takes a path seeking therein knowledge, sahhalallahu lahu tariqan ila jannah. Then Allah will make easy for them the way and a road to Jannah. Who from amongst us except that we want the road for Jannah to be made easy for us? Now, there's not a single one from amongst us except we want the road for Jannah to be made easy for us. Now, and that is accomplishable by those who what? By those who seek knowledge. By those who seek knowledge. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَمَجْتَمَعَ قَوْمٌ فِي بَيْتٍ مِّن بُيُوتِ اللَّهِ. And never do a people come together in the houses from the houses of Allah. Now, and this is another encouragement for those sisters to come out to the masjid. To come out to the masjid. Frequent the masjid. Come together inside of the masjid. Read the Qur'an. Read the Qur'an. Read the books of hadith. Bring your books that you have with you from your home and your libraries. Every home should have an Islamic library. Bring it with you to the masjid. Read it. Contemplate. Reflect. Talk about it with each other. Have circles where you benefit each other. So on and so forth. Because never does a people come together inside a house from the houses of Allah. يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ. And they read the book of Allah. وَيَتَدَارَسُونَهُ بَيْنَهُمْ. And they study it amongst themselves. نعم. إِلَّا حَفَتْهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Except that the angels, they will surround them. وَنَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّكِينَةِ. And the tranquility, it will descend upon them. Naam. We all know life is hectic, right? Life is hectic. We need a break. We need a break from the monotony. We need a break from the worries of life, from the toils of life, and so on and so forth. We need that tranquility. We all need that tranquility. Naam. This is from where you get the tranquility. coming to the masjid, reading, reflecting, so on and so forth. Naam, this is something that the women, they should be doing. Naam, reading through the biography of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Naam, even if it's something as simple as one sister, she reads and the others, they listen. And then they take turns reading and listening. Naam, it benefits. They're learning about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, learning about his biography so they can imitate him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is of extreme importance. Learning pieces of knowledge that they can go and they can share with their children. This is of extreme importance. But are we doing this? This is the question. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَغَشِيَتْهُمُ الرَّحْمَةِ, and they will be enveloped by mercy. They will be enveloped by mercy. There's not a single one of from amongst us except we need tranquility and we need to be wrapped up and enveloped in mercy. We need that. Na'am. وَذَكَرَهُمُ اللَّهِ فِي مَنْ عِنْدَ. And this right here, the last one, if this was the only benefit that we got from seeking knowledge, that is enough. It's enough. Because this is the greatest one. And that is that what? Is that Allah will mention you to the angels. Allah will mention you to the angels. If that was the only benefit from seeking knowledge, then we don't need no other benefit in seeking knowledge. That's enough. Now, but with that ultimate benefit, you still get those other benefits from being enveloped in mercy, from having the tranquility come down upon you, so on and so forth. And other than that, now, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in another hadith, من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. That whoever seeks a path, whoever takes a path seeking knowledge, and Allah will make easy for them the path to Jannah. نعم. وإن الملائكة لتضع أجنحتها رضا للطالب العلم. And the angels, they lower their wings. They lower their wings to the student of knowledge because they pleased with what they're doing. The angels lower their wings. Naam, to the student of knowledge because they please for what they're doing. وإن الطالب العلم يستغفر له من في السماء والأرض. And for the seeker of knowledge, the student of knowledge, then those in the heavens and those in the earth ask that they are forgiven. Ask that Allah forgive them. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, حتى الحيتان في الماء. Even the fish in the water. Even the fish in the water ask Allah to forgive the student of knowledge. Now, so who from amongst us, except that we need those in the heavens and those in the earth to ask that we are forgiven? Even so much so the fish in the water ask for us to be forgiven. Who except that we need that? Now, we all need that. I need that. If you don't need that, well, I need that. Right? This is something that is tremendous. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, showing the superiority, and really this is for the sisters in particular, we want you to be standouts. Not standouts in a haram way that, you're flashy and so on and so forth. No, not like that. We want you to be standouts amongst the believers. We want you to be standouts amongst the righteous. Now, because of the knowledge that you possess, because of the benefits that you give to others. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ فَضْلَ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ كَفَضْلِ الْقَمَرِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْكَوَاكِبِ. He said that the superiority of the scholar over the avid worshipper is like the superiority of the moon over the rest of the stars. Now, when you're looking at the night, the stars, they give off light, right? They give off light. However, the light that comes from them in comparison to the moon, there's no comparison. Now, there's no comparison. When there is a full moon, you can walk around in the night with very ease because it lights up a lot. Now, the light that is reflected from the moon is tremendous. It's a lot of light, a lot of benefit. And likewise, the scholars, the benefit and the light and the ilm that comes from them is way more than what will come from the regular worshiper. And this is what I mean, a standout amongst the believers because of the benefit, because of the knowledge, so on and so forth. A standout like our mother Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anha, the Sahabiyat, and they were from the best of this nation, the best of this nation. Now, the Sahabiyat, with the ilm that they had, our mother Aisha was a standout. So they will come to her with their questions. Now, they will come to her with questions. Even the men from the Sahaba will come to her with questions. She's our mother. Now, they will come to her, ask her questions. Because of the ilm that she has, she was a standout. Now, this is what we want. We want women who are going to take Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha as their role model. So become a standout with your knowledge. Now, so that your children, if they have a question about the deen, they can come and they can ask you. Now, if your sisters have a question about the deen, they can come and they can ask you. Now, and you can give them a good answer. You can benefit them tremendously. Now, remember the dua that we all hear. Allahumma ja'alna mubarakan haythuma kunna. Oh Allah, make us blessed wherever we may be. Blessed meaning that you are a source of benefit. That you are a source of benefit. That wherever you are a source of benefit. You can benefit others. Now, this is something that is tremendous. And I don't want anyone to downplay anything as relates to knowledge. Now, there was a sheikh very years ago. There was one of the when I say sheikh, I mean in age. There was an older man in one of the villages in Egypt, and he didn't know a lot. He didn't know a lot about the deen of Islam, but he was an individual who he taught, and this is according to their narrative, what they told me, he taught the majority, if not the vast majority of the people in the village, he taught them how to read. He taught them how to read. Now, he was an older man, right? So all the children that was children all the years, he was the one that was teaching everybody how to read, teaching them tajweed, now the ahkam of how to recite the Qur'an, so on and so forth. He was the one that taught the people. There was one sheikh, or one of the qurra, one of the reciters, and this was in Ramadan. This was inside Ramadan, in i'tikaf. And he was reading the Qur'an, and he started crying, right? And this older man that was there, he was very, very, very old, like his 80s or 90s. He was very old. He was there also making i'tikaf. And he was reading the Qur'an. One of his previous students who had become a reciter, he was reading the Qur'an and he started crying. And then when he got his composure, he explained. He said, Subhanallah, because the people around him was looking at him like, why are you crying? What makes you cry? So he said, Subhanallah, you see this sheikh here and how people they don't understand the reality of things. He says, when I was little, I used to have a very hard time saying Ra, the letter Ra. He said, I had a hard time saying Ra. Anything with Ra in it, I had a hard time saying it. Now, he said, and he taught me how to read, and he taught me how to say Ra. He said, now all these years, every time I recite the Qur'an, he gets rewarded for it. Every time I say Ra, he gets rewarded for it. And you know how many students I have had over these years, and I taught them how to recite, and I taught them how to say Ra correctly, and so on and so forth, and now he gets rewarded for that. And whoever those students they in turn teach, he going to get rewarded for that too, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And he said, and that's what made me cry when I realized the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has on us, and Allah's generosity upon his slaves. And look how much the sheikh he's going to benefit for teaching me how to say Ra. You see that? Subhanallah. You see, you don't have to reach that level of knowledge to be the sheikh, in the haram and so on and so forth, and to benefit. No, you don't have to reach such a level to benefit. You can benefit by just teaching people how to read. You can benefit by teaching your sisters how to read. You can benefit by teaching your children how to read. Teaching your children ahkamu tajweed. Naam. Teaching them ahkamu tajweed. This is very important. But see, the question is, how are you going to do that if you yourself have yet to learn? Now, you have to learn. Now, learning with them within itself is very attractive. It's attractive. The concept, learning, seeking knowledge is very, it's very attractive concept. But the reality, it hits people in the face. It takes a lot of struggle. It takes, sleepless nights, right? Missing some meals, so on and so forth, right? One of my teachers, again, I won't say who he is as to not bring embarrassment to him. It's not the point. But one of my teachers, he told me that at the time when he and his wife in particular, when she was finishing the Qur'an, when she was finishing the Qur'an, he was very patient with her. He said for that whole time, for like 6 months or more, he said that all they ate was sandwiches every night. Because she didn't really have time to cook, and he was giving her time so she can finish the Qur'an. And she finished the Qur'an, alhamdulillah. He said, but they ate sandwiches every night. He said he was patient upon that. Patient upon eating sandwiches every night. Right? And I'm not talking like, you might be thinking like a big sub sandwich, you know what I mean? No, I ain't talking about like that. I'm talking about just rinky-dick sandwiches, luncheon, luncheon, right? We call it, right? Like the halal bologna, like a halal bologna sandwich, with some bread and whatever every night, with some tea and some olives, and maybe some gindarumi or something, right? Every night. He said that's what he was eating. I said, really? He said, yeah, because he understood the importance of his wife finishing the Qur'an. And alhamdulillah, she became the teacher of many sisters. Now, of many sisters, my family included. So the point is that it takes sacrifice. It takes sacrifice. And the reason I brought that story, because it just doesn't take sacrifice on behalf of the woman. It takes her sacrifice and struggle, but also on behalf of the man, that he has to be understanding. He has to understand what she's trying to do. So maybe he take the kids for a little bit and give her time to finish that portion of the Qur'an she was memorizing, give her time to finish her homework for the class, and so on and so forth. Now to do her daily reading and the like. Maybe wash the dishes, help her, you know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. Review with her, help her in her studies. Be understanding when it comes to this, because everyone benefits. Everyone benefits. Now, ala kulli hal, the Prophet ﷺ, he goes on to say, إِنَّ الْعُلَمَاء وَرَثَةُ الْأَنْبِيَاء, that the scholars, they are the inheritors of the prophets. The scholars, they are the one who take the inheritance from the prophets. وَإِنَّ الْأَنْبِيَاء لَمْ يُوَرِّثُوا دِينَارًا وَلَا دِرْحَمًا, that verily the prophets, they do not leave dollars and cents behind as inheritance. إِنَّمَا وَرَّثُوا الْعِلْمِ, but rather they leave knowledge behind as an inheritance. نعم. فَمَنْ أَخَذَهُ أَخَذَ بِحَظٍ وَافِرٍ, and whoever takes it, then they would have taken a great treasure. They would have taken a great portion. They would have taken a great portion. There is a lot from ilm. Bila shak wa bila rayb. Naam. And in these classes, we want to look at some important and some vital matters that relate to knowledge. Naam. So, for the sisters, there are a few things that I'm going to require from you. And that is that you come to class and at the very minimum, you have something to write on and something to write with. Now, you have something to write on and something to write with. Now, whatever that is your choice. It's according to your preference, it's your prerogative, and it's fine as long as the job is completed. So if it is an old school notebook and a pen, pencil, what have you, that's fine. If it is a tablet, or if you prefer to type it out on the laptop, that's fine. It's no problem. Now, but you have to have something to write the things down with. Also, I will encourage the sisters to for you to encourage your husband and to ask your husbands to bring you to the class. Now, because tonight, like last night, we're having some technical difficulties with live streaming the class, right? So don't say, okay, well, I just listen from afar, or I'll, catch it later. Because, sometimes, the recording, it messes up. Sometimes technical difficulties, we can't broadcast it at the time of the class. We have to broadcast it later, so on and so forth. So we don't know. We don't know what to take place. But if you're here, bidnillahi ta'ala, then you'll benefit. You'll hear it. If you're here, bidnillahi ta'ala, then inshallah you get that tranquility. If you're here, inshallah ta'ala, then you get that rahmah, get that mercy, you see? So don't rely on, technology and say, I'm going to catch it, I'm going to listen, I'm going to tune in. Because it might not work out like that. There was a lot of people tonight said they was going to tune in. And do you know what happened? They can't hear it because we have technical difficulties, you see? So don't rely on that. So come with your pen, come with your pad, come with your writing instrument and what to write on, so on and so forth. Come ready to learn. Also, it is incumbent that you not just come to the class and you listen, you take your notes, but then you go home and you study them. I want you to look around the class right now of those who are over there. Now, I want you to look around at the sisters, and I want you to share and exchange phone numbers if you don't have each other's phone number already, because these are your study partners. I want you to link up with them, hook up with them, so that you can study together, so that you can learn together, so that you can quiz each other, so that you can memorize the verse, and then you say it to her, and then she say it to you, and y'all can correct each other and reinforce, and so on and so forth. This is very important because that knowledge is by seeking it, right? If you just come to class and you passively listen while you're in class, then you go home and you don't touch it, and you come back, you're not really going to get anything. You're not really going to learn anything. But if you go home and you put in more hours at home than you do in class, you're going to benefit. If you put in more hours at home studying than you do in the class itself, then you're going to benefit. Now, so that means memorizing, understanding, knowing the references, so on and so forth. This is very, very important. Why? Because I don't want you to look at this class as if it is just a class from the classes. No, I want you to take this like it is teacher training. Teacher training. Now, so that bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, you sisters, you will be the teachers of the children in the near future. So that you will be the teachers of the children in the near future. Your children and other than your children, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So that when the weekend program does open its doors, we have teachers, right? Everyone says we want a school, we want a school, we want a school, we want a school. Okay, that's wonderful. But what are you doing to help that come to fruition? If we get a school, okay, are you prepared to help teach inside of it? Because no one person can't teach every class. It doesn't even work like that. You follow what I'm saying? They say, oh, we hire a brother. A brother can't teach every class. And not just a brother can't teach every class, but, men don't have the same patient level as women when it comes to teaching children. They don't. Not at all. It is important that the sisters themselves are well educated in the deen of al-Islam, and they don't pass the buck on to somebody else. Somebody else going to do it. No. I want you to prepare yourself for you to do it. This is teacher training. Teacher training. Now, so you yourself be prepared so you can do it. So you can teach the children. And this is only an aspect of it. Because I'm not going to be able to teach you everything you need to learn. No, you're going to touch what we can touch. But you're going to have to be aggressive and trying to get those other things as well. The masjid is here. Now, the masjid is here. Walillah alhamd. Whatever services, whatever classes you want, bring that to the attention of the administration. Don't be scared. Write a letter, call, give your advice. Bidnillahi ta'ala, all advice is welcome. All advice is welcome, right? But I'm going to tell you something, like I tell the brothers. If you give the advice, whatever that advice is, then by default, that means you're the first volunteer. Okay? If you give the advice, and I want you to say, well, I'm not going to give no advice now. No, give advice. Ad-dinu nasiha. The religion is giving good advice, right? But you the first volunteer. So I don't want you to say, oh, this is that, and that, and then you back up. No. We're going to do it, but how you going to help me do it now? Whatever it is. It could be something simple. Maybe you bring the juices. Maybe you bring the cupcakes. It could be something simple. Or maybe you sweep up and vacuum up when we leave and put the chairs away. I don't know, something simple. But we need all hands on deck because we'll be in this together, right? We're a community in this together. These children, these our children, right? These our children, our little brothers and sisters running around the masjid right now. They're going to be the ones that's going to be running the masjid when we old and sitting in the chairs and all that. You understand? So it's incumbent that we prepare them and we train them well. That we train them well and we teach them well and we be serious about their education. So I want the sisters to look at this class like that, right? So have the study, the things you need to study. If that means you gotta bring a bag with you, a book bag, and keep everything in the same place. So that's how I want you to take it. Put everything in the same place. Buy the kind of pencils you like. Buy the kind of notebook, whatever you like, whatever it is you like. I want you to buy it, whatever makes you comfortable. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, be prepared to study. And where we're going to start is at the most important place. Because Shaykh Albani, he used to always say, rahimahullah ta'ala, beautiful lines of poetry. He said, الْعِلْمُ إِن طَلَبْتَهُ طَوِيلٌ وَعُمْرُكَ لِتَحْصِيلِهِ قَصِيرٌ فَقَدِّرْ مِنْهُ بِالْأَهَامُ فِي الْأَهَامُ. He said that knowledge, if you're going to seek it, is long. It's a lot. It's a long path, right? He said, and the lifespan that you have been given to get it is short. Knowledge is long. Your life is short. He said, so therefore, start with that which is most important and then go to that which follows it in importance. So you start with the most important thing. Now, so bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, what we want to start is we want to start with the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Now, and we want to go through the arkan and the shurut of La ilaha illallah. And then we want to do the meaning of Muhammad Rasulullah. And we're going to go through the shurut of Muhammad Rasulullah and so on and so on, that which is connected to it. Because this is of extreme importance. Shaykh Albani rahmatullah alayhi, he said that, showing the state of the Muslims, he said if you were to ask most Muslims, what is the meaning of La ilaha illallah? He said in most cases, they will give you one or two answers. He said either they will say, I don't know, or they will give you a wrong answer. He said most Muslims, if you were to ask them, what is the meaning of La ilaha illallah? He said they will either say, I don't know, or they will give you a wrong answer. Now, so we're talking about educating the next generation, educating and benefiting ourselves. And this, bila shak wa bila rayb, is a deficiency that has to be fixed. It has to be corrected. So we want to start with that. And what that will entail, it will entail the proofs and the evidences. Now, because our da'wah is based upon proofs and evidences. It's not based upon this sheikh said, that Maulana said, and this one. No. It's based upon Qala Allah, Qala Rasulullah, Qala Sahaba. Now, that's it. That's it. Based upon proofs and evidences. So, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, when we go over it, you're going to have an ayah and or a hadith for each point. An ayah or a hadith or a number of ayat and a hadith for each point. Now, and what would be required is that those verses and those hadith will be memorized and understood. That we're going to understand them and memorize them. And not just understand them, but know the point of reference in them. Not just we say something, we rattle it off. But we know exactly which part of it is the proof and evidence for what we're bringing it for. This is important, that we have understanding. Not just we rattle things off, but that we know and we have deep understanding. So this is the intention, and will be the approach, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And you see, today's class is just muqaddimah, right? It's just an introduction, because I don't want to spring it all on you, and you say, well, I wasn't prepared for that, right? So inshallah ta'ala, you'll be prepared next week. And the sisters, again, look around, take people's numbers. Somebody gets scared, they want to chicken out, then call them next week and say, hey, what happened? Why are you not in class? Why are you not here? Why I don't see you? And nobody chicken out. Come back more. Matter of fact, bring a friend. Bring a friend next week, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? So inshallah ta'ala, that's what we're going to pick up with in the next class. فنكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وجزاكم الله خيرا.